All right, we are currently experiencing a massive, literally a seismic shift in digital visibility. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling the search-proof framework. Think of this as your ultimate survival guide for the AI selection era. Look, if you're still relying on traditional SEO to get your brand noticed, you absolutely need to pay close attention, because we're breaking down exactly how to build a search-proof brand for 2026 and beyond.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Is your brand invisible to AI? Most people kind of think a visibility problem just means being stuck on page 2 or 3 of Google. But you know what? The real problem goes much, much deeper than that. If AI systems like ChatGPT or Perplexity don't select your brand, you aren't just hidden, you are completely excluded from the digital answer layer. You literally cease to exist in the exact space where people are actively asking questions. Poof, gone.
To really understand why this is happening, we've got to look at how discovery has fundamentally changed. The old way, the traditional SEO we all know, was all about ranking lists, stuffing specific keywords, and, building backlinks. But the new way? It's totally different. AI doesn't show lists of blue links anymore. It generates answers directly by selecting trusted entities. So the central question we have to ask ourselves isn't how do I rank anymore? It's how do I become the definitive answer that AI confidently chooses?
Which brings us to part 1, bridging the reference gap.
So, the crucial point here is understanding what we call the reference gap. This is the critical disconnect between what your brand actually is out there in reality and what AI can confidently say about it. Think of it like missing your core digital fingerprint. If these neural networks cannot clearly define your identity from the data they've been trained on, they take the safest route possible. They just simply ignore you.
And when that gap gets too wide, you hit a total failure state. Insufficient confidence to generate brand answer. Ouch! Just imagine the AI scanning its vast network, desperately trying to find the missing puzzle pieces of your brand identity, but it just can't stitch them together. Lacking a clear entity identity, the machine defaults to zero confidence. And just like that, your brand is dropped entirely.
Let's diagnose what a live AI stress test failure actually looks like in practice. If you prompt an AI and your brand completely fails to appear, it usually boils down to 4 main culprits. You might have weak entity signals, a severe lack of external validation, an inconsistent narrative scattered randomly across the web, or absolutely no structured authority content to your name. Running this stress test completely reframes SEO. You're no longer dealing with a ranking problem. You actually have a fundamental existence problem.
All right, part 2, the solution, the search-proof framework.
To fix this invisibility crisis, here is your roadmap. We've got 3 specific pillars we must master: reference visibility, sentiment control, and content moats. Think of these 3 pillars as your ultimate, comprehensive defense mechanism against being shut out by AI algorithms.
Let's start with Pillar 1, reference visibility.
To close that reference gap we talked about earlier, you have to feed the AI a complete, easily ingestible picture of your brand. You need 3 specific things. First, a crystal clear identity, exactly who you are and what you do. Second, consistent topical positioning. You can't be everything to everyone. You have to confidently own a specific category. And third, repeated external mentions. You absolutely must be consistently cited by trusted sources so the AI recognizes you as a factual, established entity.
Moving on to Pillar 2, sentiment control.
Now, what's really interesting here is seeing how AI doesn't just learn hard facts, it learns opinions. The machine is actively ingesting fragmented sentiment from all corners of the internet. We're talking reviews, Reddit threads, random blogs, social media commentary, and comparison articles. It uses this exact mix to figure out how people actually feel about your brand. It is essentially crowdsourcing your reputation in real time.
And that brings us to a pretty stark reality. If you don't control your narrative, the internet will gladly define you for you. If you aren't actively shaping public sentiment, the AI is just going to absorb whatever random, unfiltered public opinion is out there and present that as the definitive truth about who you are. Active sentiment control is absolutely critical for your survival in this new landscape.
All right, on to Pillar 3, content moats.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why most standard content strategies are just flat out failing today. Generic content gets instantly absorbed, summarized, and regurgitated by AI without ever mentioning you. You just become part of the background noise. Proprietary content, on the other hand, is deep, structured, and completely unique. It actually gets referenced and cited. It literally forces the AI to point directly back to you as the source. So, what actually goes into this moat vault? Well, to build an impenetrable defense that AI cannot just summarize away, you need original frameworks. You need first-party data that you personally collected and analyzed. You need highly detailed case studies and unique proprietary systems. These are assets the AI simply cannot invent or scrape from someone else. By creating this proprietary vault, you become the definitive source the machine has to keep returning to. Period.
Let's move to part 3, mastering the selection era, and see how this all builds together.
This is the profound mindset shift you need to make right now. You are no longer optimizing for search engines. You are optimizing for selection. Getting your head around this is the absolute key to mastering the new rules of discovery. The whole game has changed from how do I get seen on a long list of links to how do I get chosen as the definitive answer.
I want to leave you with this thought to really drive the point home. The real competition is not rankings. It is invisibility. In the age of AI search, if the machine doesn't choose you, you simply do not exist in the answer layer. So, take a hard look at your brand today. Are you actually building the reference visibility, the sentiment control, and the content moats required to survive? Or are you just slowly fading into digital invisibility? Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.